Even astrologers stay quiet about these houses. In this video, we are talking about astrology's forbidden houses, the 8th and the 12th, because not everything in your chart is meant to be comfortable. And I'm your host, Alina. Some houses describe who you are in public, your drive, your confidence, your purpose. But they show what happens when the lights go out. The 8th and 12th houses hold the parts of you that don't always make sense. The secrets, the patterns, the obsessions that feel bigger than logic. Most people avoid them because they expose what you can't fake. Your shadow, your fear, your power. But here's the thing. Once you understand what these houses are trying to teach you, you stop being afraid of them. Because these two houses, they don't just reveal who you are, they show what's been following you. People call them forbidden because they deal with what most people don't want to face. Control, loss, surrender, endings. In ancient astrology, the 8th and 12th houses were known as the dark houses, the ones that couldn't see the ascendant, the light of consciousness. They were places of exile, isolation, and death. But what ancient astrologers called darkness is where real transformation happens. These houses hold everything we repress: grief, jealousy, fear, obsession, faith, forgiveness. And when those parts of you surface, it doesn't mean you're cursed. It means your soul is ready to grow. Here's the secret. The 8th and 12th houses were never forbidden because they're evil. They are forbidden because they reveal the truth, and most people are not ready to see it. The 8th house is the place most people fear for a reason, because this is where it starts to get intense. The first forbidden house doesn't just change your life, it burns it down. It's the house of death, sex, transformation, and everything you can't control. But death here doesn't always mean literal. It's the death of versions of you that no longer fit, the endings that force you to grow up fast. This is the house that teaches you how to let go, not gently, but through fire. Every time something you love falls apart, it's your 8th house energy testing how much power you actually have. People with strong 8th house placements are rarely liked. They feel like a storm, every emotion amplified, every connection intense, every betrayal unforgettable. They attract extremes because they are built for transformation. This house rules everything hidden under the surface: money, jealousy, obsession, control, intimacy. It's where your shadow lives and where your power hides. That's why 8th house people can be magnetic. You feel them before they even speak. They've lived through enough endings to carry a kind of quiet authority. But the real lesson here isn't control, it's surrender. The 8th house asks, can you let go of what you can't own? Can you stop trying to manage everything and trust that the death of one version of you is just the beginning of another? Because when you finally stop resisting transformation, the 8th house becomes your power source. The part of you that can burn everything down and still rebuild stronger. I'll give you an example. A while ago, I went through what I now know was a full 8th house moment. Everything I thought was solid actually wasn't. The important relationship ended. The job that used to define me stopped feeling aligned. It felt like the universe pulled the rug out from under everything at once. And my first instinct was control. Trying to hold on, trying to fix, trying to make it make sense. But the harder I tried, the more everything slipped away. Maybe you felt that too. That panic when everything familiar starts falling apart and you don't realize it's actually clearing space for something new. That's the thing about 8th house energy. It doesn't care what you want to keep. It only leaves what's meant to evolve. And when I finally stopped fighting it, everything shifted. I didn't rebuild the old version of my life. I built a new one. And that's where the 12th house energy started creeping in. The dreams, the intuition, the moments that felt guided instead of planned. Looking back, that breakdown was my initiation. The 8th house stripped me down, and the 12th helped me understand why. If the 8th house is where things die and are reborn, the 12th house is where they disappear. It's the house of vengeance, solitude, dreams, and the unseen world. The part of your chart that connects you to something bigger than logic. The 12th house doesn't destroy you like the 8th does. It erases you, quietly. It dissolves your ego until all that's left is truth. People with strong 12th house energy feel everything, sometimes even without knowing it. They absorb emotions, energy, even other people's pain. It's psychic empathy disguised as exhaustion. This house rules what's hidden: subconscious patterns, generational karma, old wounds you can't put into words. It's why 12th house transits feel lonely or confusing. You can't think your way out of them. You have to feel your way through. That's also why this house is called the house of self-undoing. It shows the habits, attachments, and illusions you cling to that quietly sabotage you. Not to punish you, but to make you conscious of what's running beneath the surface. When you stop fighting the fog, the 12th house becomes your greatest gift. It gives you intuition, imagination, and the kind of spiritual wisdom you can't learn from books. But it comes at a cost. You have to lose versions of yourself that were never real to begin with. The 12th house asks, can you trust the unknown? Can you surrender without needing to control what happens next? Because once you do, that's where peace lives, not in certainty, but in connection to something that's beyond it. Most people stop there, at fear, but if you go deeper, something shifts. The irony is, the houses everyone fears hold the gifts everyone wants. The 8th house gives you depth. It gives you emotional intelligence, magnetic presence, the kind of power that comes from surviving what was meant to destroy you. That's why 8th house people seem mysterious. They've faced endings most people avoid. They don't just read energy, they feel it. And the 12th house, it gives you empathy, intuition, and a connection to something beyond logic. It softens your edges and opens your heart, sometimes painfully, but it makes you human in the most spiritual way. Together, these houses teach you what strength really means. It's not being untouchable, it's being able to face loss, fear, surrender, and still keep your heart open. The 8th shows you your shadow. The 12th shows you your soul. And once you stop running from either, you realize they've been trying to lead you back to yourself all along. The 8th and 12th houses are the ones that change you, not through comfort, but through surrender. They are the spaces that break you open, strip away your masks, and show you who you really are when there's nothing left to hide behind. The 8th house teaches you power through pain. The 12th teaches you peace through release. And together they remind you that light isn't found by avoiding darkness. It's created by walking through it. So if you've been moving through a season that feels heavy, lost, or uncertain, check your 8th and 12th houses. You're not falling apart, you're evolving. And if you know someone stuck in their shadow right now, send it to them. And if this video felt a little too real, my next one goes even deeper. Watch it right here. And I'll see you there. Bye!